Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday afternoon, Super Bowl 57 edition. We're coming to you a little early in the afternoon because obviously Super Bowl 57 is tonight and we don't want to interrupt your viewing experience. So we thought we'd pop on, we'd do a little pregame outside of the norms and get you ready for the final NFL football game of this regular, or I guess this postseason. We're going to talk about a Titans fans rooting guide to this Super Bowl. We'll go through individual players that we're excited to watch, and then the dreaded game pick, which will come at the end of the show. If you are a listener to the radio show and also consume the primetime show, you know that if the Chiefs win, I have to paint my face like an eagle for tomorrow. If the Eagles win, producer Robert and producer Lucas must do the same with the Chiefs logo because we're not trying to get anybody canceled in 2023. Before we get started, though, I need you guys to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live like Mark Dalton or Dylan Loscott, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. If you are on YouTube or on Twitch like Sam or Steven1986, we would appreciate you liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, and telling a friend if you've done all of those things here tonight. Share the damn show. Happy Super Bowl, says Steven. That's exactly right. By the way, 200 by Super Bowl. The goal was achieved. 196. I almost passed out on the bike today and in the sauna because I was so desperate to not miss this mark the same way that I missed 220 by training camp. But we're cooking. Thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to everybody who was very, very supportive today on the internet. We were very happy to see that. And now I'm probably going to gain all of it back because we have a Super Bowl spread cooking just below my feet right now. And I'm very excited to actually eat food. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for quality American-made Ford vehicles and 2023 model year Fords. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Gary Ashton, the Intel edge you need to succeed. Go to garyashton.com to make it happen. The Intel edge will help you get your dream address without the stress at garyashton.com. Superbook Sports, not too late for you to go wager on football's finale coming up later tonight. Download the Superbook Sports app today and get in on all the action. And TrueMav Fitness that has helped me tremendously in my goal of reaching 200 by Super Bowl. They can do the same for you where no workout is recycled or repeated. TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free. So, as we talk about this game, there are a couple of different things to look at, right? Obviously, as a Titans fan, you're conflicted. Probably there's a fair amount of you that don't want to see A.J. Brown get a ring without you. I get why that's so. There's probably a contingent of you that want to see Brett Kern win a Super Bowl the way that he'll have the opportunity to do so tonight. I'm sure nobody in here wants to see the Chiefs win. I'm sure many Titans fans are tired of the Chiefs at this stage and kind of looking around to see all the different things that you would be potentially interested in. We have inactives for the game officially. Brett Kern is inactive for tonight's game, so he will be on the roster, but he will not play in Super Bowl 57. So that news was just made official. So then there's A.J. Brown, right? And I know a lot of people have their, hesitations, their trepidations about what it was that A.J. Brown was during his time here, and then ultimately when he went on to win or to, he did win and may still go on further to win, but went on to succeed at a high level in Philadelphia and kind of leave the Titans in the dust a little bit. So the question that I want to ask you is this: on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, it's your Two Rivers Ford take. The question, which I'm not seeing in my email, is do you want to see A.J. Brown win a ring tonight? Let me know on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We'll talk about it together. Or how will you feel if A.J. Brown gets a ring tonight? Let me know, and we will discuss right after I tell you about Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for the best car buying experience possible. They make it fast, easy, and fun. They always sell all new non-specialty Ford vehicles below MSRP and will go above and beyond to put you in a position to succeed. Their sales staff does not work on commission, which means you never feel any pressure throughout the course of the car buying experience. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So how will you feel if A.J. Brown wins a ring tonight? Chris Frazier says John Robinson will look dumb. Well, I think that's I don't want to say that John will look dumb. I just think that the trade will look even worse in retrospect. I don't think that's an indictment of John's intelligence necessarily. I think John is an above average, a person of above average intelligence. I don't think that he's dumb, but I do think that the trade in retrospect may look a little more dumb if AJ goes on to win a ring. I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan, says Justin, but I'm going for KC tonight. Billy Jones says he's pulling for the Chiefs, so AJ doesn't get a ring. If he has 2 of 14 or 2 catches for 14 yards and they win, he won't be able to say much about himself. Well, that's true. But I think that the more you look at the possibility for AJ to come out and compete, AJ Brown is probably the second best betting odds. In fact, he is the second best betting odds to win MVP for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. That's because that dude goes out and just makes plays. But as you get your hatred stirred up, or your feelings, you're emotional about this particular situation, you're thinking with your heart instead of your mind, just know that just because A.J. Brown is playing for a different team doesn't mean that his connections to Tennessee aren't still very strong. And in fact, I thought he gave a very touching tribute to current Titans wide receiver coach Rob Moore for his impact in A.J.'s career up until this point.
What's up, Coach Moore? It's AJ. I'm sending you something on my cleats as I gear up for the Super Bowl. It was truly an honor to be coached by you. I got something special coming your way. Coach Moore helped me out a lot with things related to football, not related to football. He kind of like watched me grow up in the NFL. Coach Rob, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you have done for me. You helped me just to stay grounded. When you see me playing in the Super Bowl, making plays, I want you to know that it's a direct reflection of what you have taught me.
The thing that comes to mind with AJ, he wanted to be coached hard, always responded in the manner that you wish every player would when you challenged him.
And he was just teaching me to play with my hands and feet.
AJ, just let it fly, man, like you always do.
So, that obviously means a lot to Rob Moore. AJ Brown clearly cares a lot for Rob Moore and the work that they did here together. And, it's notable how well AJ did under Rob. Now, you could have said that AJ would have done this with anybody, but he was not a sure thing, AJ, coming out of Ole Miss. From 2019 to 2021, AJ led the Titans with 185 receptions, 2,995 receiving yards, a 16.2 yard per reception average, and 24 touchdown catches. He's only one of 4 players to ever do that in the modern day NFL. I'm going to give you the other names who AJ is right there alongside with right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found at GaryAshton.com. They will always go above and beyond to make sure that you get exactly what you want, whether you're selling your home, sell for more with the Ashton team. If you're buying your next one, make sure you have that intel edge as you work your way through this red-hot Nashville real estate market. Nobody has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. That's why they are the team that your favorite teams trust. Go to GaryAshton.com today. So, A.J. Brown, I gave you the numbers about his first 3 seasons while he was here in Tennessee and how much Rob Moore helped him during his time here. So, since 1970, Brown was only the 4th player in the NFL, the modern day NFL, to reach all of those numbers within his first 3 seasons. Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, John Jefferson, and A.J. Brown. Those are the only 4 players to achieve at that rate in their first 3 NFL seasons. During those 3 seasons, Brown ranked 7th in the NFL in receiving average and tied for 10th in touchdown catches. Now that hurts a little worse given what the leading receiver here in Tennessee was able to do this season. Robert Woods was not even a shell of what A.J. Brown was, and obviously Treylon Burks did not have the time necessary on the field to be able to achieve that at that level. But it's clear that Tennessee still matters to A.J. People in Tennessee still matter to A.J. And just because he no longer plays for your team doesn't mean that you have to go on wishing against him or rooting against him as he tries to achieve the ultimate goal. So Brett Kern is inactive, and that was not something we had for certain until about 20 minutes ago. That's now official, courtesy of the Philadelphia Eagles injury reporter inactives list. Brett Kern not playing tonight, but will still win a ring, obviously, if the Eagles do advance. The question that I want to ask you guys is this: which individual player are you most excited to watch in tonight's Super Bowl? It could be the player that we just talked about. Could be A.J. Brown. Could be Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes is obviously not a bad option. Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. There's stars all over the field. So as you talk about the different players who are going to be participating in this game, which are you most excited to watch? Mitchell Gallinger says, makes me sick to see AJ in the game today. John Robinson should have been fired the day he traded him away, and Downing should have been gone the day after his DUI. This organization is pathetic. Well, you can't go back and undo the past, and understandably, a lot of people are frustrated by the fact that A.J. Brown is playing in a Super Bowl and the Titans didn't make the postseason this year. So I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can look at this. And obviously, I'm probably first and foremost focused on what A.J. does in this game and how big an impact he has. Dave Samsel says Devontae Smith. Karen O'Keefe says Mahomes. A.D., I'm not sure what, maybe that's Mahomes and somebody. We'll get back to the comments here in just a second, right after I remind you that Superbook Sports is where you go to wager on the big games. Download the Superbook app today. Go to superbook.com for terms and conditions and the best menu of prop bets out there. The Superbook app is clean, it's easy to use, and they will match your first bet up to $1,000, win or lose. So download the Superbook Sports app. Go to superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So who are you most excited to watch tonight in this game? Well, Brett Kern won't punt officially. So remove Brett from the equation if that was going to be your rooting interest. I know there are some of you who would have said Brett for sure. I think my attention first and foremost gravitates towards the two quarterbacks and, frankly, how much Mahomes can do unto himself given that he's working against the defense that led the league in sacks in 2022.
I'm looking for early in the game for the Chiefs to come out and throw the ball very rhythmically, because you don't want to get stuck with that D line getting amped up early. And I think Patrick Mahomes, because it's in his DNA very often to move when he doesn't need to, and oftentimes he'll make great plays when he does that, but at times he can get a little reckless. And I think you want to control that early in the game. And I think you'll see quick game, you'll see RPO, you'll see the ball out of his hands quickly. You'll see them try to frustrate that D line because they're not going to get to him. And I think they'll mix in screens, they'll mix in, some of their, I hate using the word gimmick because with Andy Reid, it never feels like a gimmick. It feels like it's just, an addition to what they normally do,
Sure.
So I think you'll see some of that. But I think they'll try to channel Mahomes a little bit early, let him get into the flow of the game, and then he'll do, what Patrick Mahomes does. Because it's in his DNA to move. But I think early you want to channel that. Because you don't want him to start with deep drops and feel like the rush is becoming a factor. Look, I can tell you for a fact, people might not remember this, but when they lost to the Bucks, was it 2 or 3 years ago? In the
2020.
2020, there you go. And I could show you the plays. Everybody just says, "Oh, Bucks D line dominated," and they overall did. But I went through that very carefully, and there were 4 or 5 plays in that game where Mahomes left the pocket early and left throws on the field, including an 85-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill. And I think Andy's very aware of that. He knows what Patrick is, and Patrick's great. That's not my point. And I hope people don't listen and go, oh, you don't like Patrick Mahomes. No, that's not my point at all. But I think you want to get Mahomes into the game, get rid of the football, let him get a feel for the game, and then he can be Patrick Mahomes doing his thing. You don't want to start off the game with him running around. He's going to do that anyway.
So that's Greg Cosell from the Install. Not too late to get your fix an hour before kickoff. It's only a 20-minute podcast, but it's previewing the entire game at this point and how they get Mahomes going early, how much they're committed to their rushing attack, how long it takes them to give up on the rush, given that they had no semblance of a ground game against the Cincinnati Bengals and still managed to win it anyway. I think it's going to be fascinating to see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Patrick Mahomes go superstar mode. Although, when you talk about the other side of the ball, the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, they have so many answers and create their own answers as they problem solve through opposing defenses, as they will try to do against the Chiefs tonight.
Obviously, the Eagles O-line, arguably the best in the league. And we saw when they played the Niners, there were individual plays where it just seemed like they mauled guys who were 315, 320 pounds. We can all probably visualize Javon Kinlaw just being moved, Armstead being moved, individual plays where it just looked bad if you were a fan of the 49ers. And I'm sure they'll have some of those plays again. I'm struggling with the idea that they're just going to dominate, though, and maybe they will. And, I think much depends on the Hurts factor, because with Hurts, when he's in the gun, which is 99% of the snaps, when you're in a normal down and distance situation, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, there's so many different plays that can come from Hurts being in the gun with an offset back. And for all we know, they just make a play call, because look, this whole idea that a quarterback is, when the ball snapped, is choosing one of 4 plays as the ball snapped. That's just not true. That's impossible to do. So they could simply call a play, but because of formation, because of the Hurts factor, you're getting the defense aligned in certain ways. You're getting them reacting to certain things. So it's really difficult. That's one reason why the Eagles' run game, Buck, has been so good this year, because there's so many things that can come from Hurts in the gun with an offset back that it's just hard for the defense.
So how the Eagles attack the Chiefs is going to be a fascinating part of this matchup. It's going to be a chess match on both sides. These are very, very skilled coaching staffs and high-level players who are going to be on the offensive trying to get a Super Bowl tonight. We talked legacy on Thursday night, who it means the most for. I would venture a bet to say Patrick Mahomes is going to be the one, but I think that at this point, there's a bunch of exciting things that we're going to see in tonight's game, and that's the best that we can hope for at this stage. Just a good Super Bowl. Just want to see a competitive Super Bowl, an entertaining Super Bowl. If we can have both, that's swell. If we can have one but not the other, well, I don't know how that would necessarily work, but these are the 2 best teams to do so. In fact, this is the first time that the 2 number 1 seeds have met in the Super Bowl since 2017, I believe. And it is going to be a really, really exciting game to see how it breaks down. We talked about who I think is going to be a strong betting choice for Super Bowl MVP, non-quarterback Travis Kelce. He is an absolute monster. He ranks 2nd in receptions, 127, receiving yards, 1,467, and tied for 2nd in touchdown receptions in postseason history. The only people that he trails in all 3 of those categories is Jerry Mother Bleepin' Rice. So Travis Kelce, a great non-quarterback pick for your Super Bowl MVP. All right, this is a free site. The question, real simple. Who you got, Eagles or Chiefs? Let me know in the comment section. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that the people who helped me meet my goal today, 200 by Super Bowl, achieved, courtesy of TrueMav Fitness. They are the best place for you to get your fitness goal started. I cannot say thank you enough to the people at TrueMav Fitness who made this possible for me. It was a process, and they worked through it with me every step of the way. I enjoyed every part of it. It's not easy to get yourself in a place where you start to enjoy the workouts if you're not somebody who's wired that way already. TrueMav Fitness and their great coaching staff help me achieve that and help me approach it with the right mindset so I could accomplish my goals. Your first workout is free at truemathfitness.com. As a Middle Tennessee resident, go sign up for any number of their memberships for group classes, personal training, and their open gym, truemathfitness.com. So, who you got? Eagles or Chiefs at this point? Billy Jones, Chiefs 34-31. Randy Himberg, Chiefs. The distinguished gentleman, John Pertati, Karen O'Keefe, all going Chiefs. Only Steven is in there with an Eagles pick tonight. I'm surprised. The Eagles are the betting favorites. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think the Eagles are going to do so with force because you know that Eagles fans are going to show up and show out.
A key blitz. He's a big game defensive coordinator. I'll be interested to see what he does today. This Eagles defensive front's the first in NFL history to have 4 players with double-digit sacks. Yet you said Chris Jones is the best defensive player on the field.
So the Eagles fans are insane. I was watching the Preds Flyers game the other night at the Wells Fargo Center. They were leading Eagles chants very, very loudly in the middle of that game in Philadelphia. They're fired up. They just had their team in the World Series. Unfortunately, they lost. They just had their team in the MLS final, which they lost. So they're hungry for a professional title, having last won one in 2017. So I'll take the Eagles tonight. If I lose that, I will have to paint my face before radio show tomorrow morning like an eagle. And I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to get that done. Maybe we'll have to just figure that out at some point this week because a Monday turnaround is kind of difficult for a face painting artist if you don't already know one. Either way, enjoy the football tonight. This is the last game of the NFL regular season or of the NFL season. It's been a phenomenal season with you guys. Thank you as always for making it such a fun one. Just because the football stops doesn't mean we do. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. We'll talk about Titans. We'll talk about what Mike Vrabel had to say on my radio show on Friday, as well as Taylor Lewan contemplating retirement. There's a bunch of big stories for the Titans to get us through this offseason, and I'm looking forward to doing so with you guys together. We will end the show as we always do with a questionable Jags fan sending us into the evening. Always remember not to steal the show.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal a show.